And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Tamer Khafagi, for a nice presentation. Next speaker, Professor Dr. Emad Hussain, Professor of Vascular Surgery here in Shams University, and he's talk about clinical impact of IVC anatomy on vascular surgery.
Thank you, Mr. Co-moderator. Good afternoon. I'd like first to thank the board of the EVC and keeping the tradition of our late dear Professor Tariq Radwan, and credit goes again for Dr. Adel Hussaini to allow me to be with such a distinguished gathering. This looks like a little bit overlooked, and hence the importance of the few moments we are going to spend together. Let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen, these are my disclosures. I've been called twice in the last 3 years with the urology. We have this ongoing love story with the urology, because this is about urology and vascular surgery departments. Ongoing love story, but a painful love story. I've been called twice at Wadi Nil Hospital in the last 3 years, removing hypernephroma, and I had to deal with an extension of the thrombus plug finger into the IVC. The first case went all right because it was limited and easily removed, lateral suture of the IVC, but the second case was so adherent so that I had to cut this segment, throw it away, and then the patient was not good as the anesthetic risk, so I had to put quickly, as anesthesia didn't want to stay more than that, some Dacron interposition graft. That's it. No time for preventing or refashioning great saphenous so that the diameter match would be okay. So I'll cover quickly the epidemiology and awareness. Of course, I've been waiting all night long for the registrar to call me and inform me that extensive DVT of both lower limbs has happened. Till the morning, he didn't call me. So I was worried. I went and I was, of course, fully anticoagulated, but I went to the hospital and I was prepared for this. So that led me to see what happened. Why didn't the patient not develop the DVT? Because simply of a good collateralization with the azygos and hemazygous system, and of course the good support from the testicular veins and so forth. So probably we have to look at the prevalence of IVC anomalies as reported in the literature. We are talking about an incidence of 10% for duplication. This is the commonest, by the way, duplication. Left-sided IVC in that order, 0.3% for hypoplasia, or sometimes there's an absent IVC. But most commonly, a double IVC. One of them, luckily, would be going up. Sometimes they join together and they form single IVC up, or sometimes one would join the azygos and then we'll see now. Anyway, with an odds ratio of 17.03, we could expect the incidence may reach 12%. In some reported cases in the in some reported reports in the literature. However, these findings should be focused upon recognizing the IVC anomalies, especially in the context of DVT. That being said, we'll probably, it's worthwhile mentioning that interrupted inferior vena cava and duplicated superior vena cava are identified sometimes during catheter ablation. So the variance of the IVC anomalies would be an interrupted inferior vena cava and duplicated superior vena cava, a double IVC, left-sided IVC interruption, agenesis of the inferior vena cava. In case of absent infrarenal IVC, of course, we should expect deep vein thrombosis. Different modalities of the IVC anomalies. When do we deal with the IVC? Why would be very important to focus on these anomalies of the IVC during filter placement, of course, which is the commonest. I personally had twice to face this situation. So take-home message number one, as of now, please keep in mind that a good venogram, whatever a CT venogram prior to your intervention is there. So intraoperative venogram to make sure that things are okay. During management of May Turner, concomitant with the iliac vein stenting, and en route during management of central vein occlusion in his chest and neck. In all IVC-like interventions, venogram, as I just said, is of crucial importance, even in the presence of a prior acceptable CT venography. In conclusion, regarding the clinical impact of IVC anomalies on our vascular surgery practice, we have to keep in mind that the IVC anomalies are either the result of persistence or regression of immunological veins with different variants, of course. Recurrent pulmonary embolism following a routine infrarenal IVC filter placement should raise the suspicion of a duplicated IVC. Again, absent interrupted IVC should be suspected in young patients with iliofemoral DVT, and IVC variants and dilated collateral veins can be mistaken sometimes for malignancy. So just a reminder for that. And I leave you with these double IVC picture so as not to forget them. Again, caution during the filter placement. We have to check en route. This is a picture of, I conclude my presentation, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, with this photo of Ain Shams University Hospital in 1984, and luckily it is still preserved. I took this picture myself, and luckily it is still reasonably maintained, and that's an achievement, okay, in Egypt. Thank you very much.
Thank